Welcome to English via AI. Imagine a quiet room. A man is working with wires, metal, and sound. He is not trying to become famous. He is trying to help people communicate. He knows silence. His mother had trouble hearing. His wife would also be deaf. So, sound is not just science to him. It is personal. One day, his work will change the world. A voice will travel through a wire, and human history will never be the same. This is the story of Alexander Graham Bell. Alexander Graham Bell was born on March 3, 1847, in Edinburgh, Scotland. He was born into a family deeply connected to speech and sound. His father, Alexander Melville Bell, studied speech. His grandfather also worked with speech and public speaking. So Alexander grew up around voices, language, and communication. This shaped his future. His family did not only speak about sound. They studied how sound worked. They studied how people formed words. They studied how people could speak more clearly. Young Alexander was curious. He liked to ask questions. He liked to understand how things worked. He was especially interested in sound. This interest would stay with him for his whole life. Alexander's father created a system called visible speech. This system used symbols to show how sounds are made. It helped people understand the position of the tongue, lips, and throat. It was especially useful for teaching speech. Alexander learned this work from his father. He became interested in helping people who had trouble hearing or speaking. This was not only a job. It was connected to his heart. His mother, Eliza Grace Bell, had serious hearing loss. Alexander saw how difficult life could be when sound was limited. He learned to communicate with her in careful ways. He spoke close to her forehead so she could feel the vibration of his voice. This gave him a deep interest in sound and vibration. For Bell, communication was not just about words. It was about connection. Alexander's family faced sadness. 2 of his brothers died from tuberculosis. This disease was serious and dangerous at that time. The losses deeply affected the family. Bell's own health also worried his parents. In 1870, the family moved to Canada. They hoped the new air and new life would help him. They settled in Brantford, Ontario. This move changed Bell's life. Canada gave him space to think and work. He spent time studying sound. He also continued to teach. He was still young, but his life was already full of serious purpose. He wanted to understand speech. He wanted to help people communicate. And soon, his work would take him to the United States. Alexander Graham Bell became a teacher of deaf students. This work was central to his life. He taught in Boston and became known for his skill. He worked with students who could not hear well. He wanted to help them speak and communicate. One of his students was Mabel Hubbard. Mabel had lost her hearing after illness when she was a child. Bell became close to her family. Later, Mabel became his wife. They married in 1877. This made his work even more personal. The world of deaf education shaped Bell's life deeply. It also shaped his invention work. He was always thinking about sound. How does sound move? How does the voice travel? Can the human voice be carried by electricity? These questions pushed him forward. In the 1800s, the telegraph was already changing communication. The telegraph could send messages over wires, but it sent signals, not voices. People still had to read messages. Bell wanted something different. He wondered if the human voice could travel through a wire. This was a bold idea. Many people were working on electrical communication at the time. Bell was not alone in this field, but his background was special. He understood sound deeply. He understood speech. He understood vibration. He believed sound could be changed into electrical signals. Then those signals could become sound again. It was a difficult problem, but Bell kept working. Bell did not work completely alone. He had an important helper named Thomas Watson. Watson was skilled with electrical equipment. Bell brought ideas. Watson helped build and test the machines. Together, they worked for long hours. They tried many designs. They faced many failures. But each failure taught them something. Bell was trying to send the human voice through a wire. This was not simple. The voice is not one simple sound. It changes every moment. It rises, it falls, it carries emotion. To send a voice, Bell needed more than a signal. He needed a way to carry sound itself. Step by step, he moved closer. On March 7, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell received a United States patent for the telephone. This was a major moment. A patent gives legal protection for an invention. It says the idea belongs to the inventor under the law. But the story was not free from controversy. Other inventors were also working on similar ideas. There were later legal battles over the telephone. Still, Bell's patent became one of the most famous patents in history. Only 3 days later, on March 10, 1876, Bell made a famous test. He spoke to Watson through the device. The words are remembered in history. "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." Watson heard the words. The human voice had traveled through a wire. A new age of communication had begun. The telephone amazed people. At first, many did not understand its power. Some thought it was only a strange machine. But Bell understood what it could become. A person could speak in one place. Another person could hear the voice far away. This was revolutionary. In 1876, Bell showed the telephone at the Centennial Exhibition in Philadelphia. People began to pay attention. The invention slowly moved from curiosity to business. In 1877, the Bell Telephone Company was formed. The telephone began to spread. Offices used it. Businesses used it. Later, homes used it. The world became smaller. Voices could cross distance. Families, workers, doctors, and leaders could speak faster than before. Communication had changed forever. Alexander Graham Bell is most famous for the telephone, but he was interested in many things. He kept inventing and experimenting. He worked on sound recording. He helped develop improvements connected to the phonograph. He also worked on the photophone. The photophone sent sound on a beam of light. Bell believed it was one of his important inventions. It came long before modern fiber optic communication. He also worked on early ideas connected to flight. He studied kites and flying machines. Later, he supported work on hydrofoils. A hydrofoil is a fast boat that rises above the water on wing-like parts. Bell never stopped asking questions. The telephone made him famous, but curiosity kept him moving. Bell became famous and successful, but his life was not only about business. He continued to care about education and communication. He worked with deaf people for many years. He supported scientific research. He also helped create and support important scientific institutions. But his legacy is complex. Some of his views about deaf education are debated today. Many people respect his work. Others criticize some of his ideas. This is important to understand. A real-life story is not always simple. Bell helped change communication for the world. He also lived in a time with beliefs that people now question. His story shows both achievement and complexity. He was an inventor. He was a teacher. He was also a man of his time. Alexander Graham Bell spent much of his later life in Canada and the United States. He had a home in Baddeck, Nova Scotia. There, he continued to think, experiment, and work. He loved the area. It gave him peace and space. He stayed active in science until his later years. Alexander Graham Bell died on August 2, 1922, in Baddeck, Nova Scotia, Canada. He was 75 years old. After his death, telephone systems in parts of North America were silent for a short time in his honor. This was a powerful symbol. The invention that carried voices paused to remember the man connected to it. His current status is clear. He passed away in 1922, but his work still lives in every phone call and every modern communication system. Alexander Graham Bell's legacy is enormous. He helped change how humans communicate. Before the telephone, distance made conversation difficult. After the telephone, voices could travel across cities, countries, and eventually, the world. His invention helped families stay connected. It helped businesses move faster. It helped emergency help arrive sooner. It helped build the modern world. Bell's work also reminds us that invention often grows from human need. He cared about speech. He cared about hearing. He cared about connection. His life shows that science is not only about machines. It is also about people. The telephone was more than technology. It was a bridge between human beings. So what can we learn from the life of Alexander Graham Bell? His story carries powerful lessons. The first lesson is about curiosity. Bell asked deep questions about sound and speech. The second lesson is about purpose. He wanted to help people communicate. The third lesson is about teamwork. Thomas Watson helped turn Bell's ideas into working machines. The fourth lesson is about persistence. Bell failed many times before the telephone worked. The fifth lesson is about responsibility. Great inventions can change the world. So inventors must think carefully about their impact. Alexander Graham Bell's life reminds us of something simple but powerful. A voice can cross a wire. An idea can cross the world. And one question can connect millions of people. Vocabulary, meanings, and examples from the story. Communication, sharing information, thoughts, or feelings. Example, he wanted to help people communicate. Speech, the act of speaking. Example, his father studied speech. Vibration, a small, fast movement back and forth. Example, he became interested in sound and vibration. Deaf, not able to hear or having serious hearing loss. Example, Alexander Graham Bell became a teacher of deaf students. Telegraph, a system that sent messages over wires. Example, the telegraph could send messages over wires. Signal, a sound, sign, or message sent to someone. Example, he believed sound could be changed into electrical signals. Patent, a legal right to an invention. Example, on March 7, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell received a United States patent. Device, a tool or machine made for a purpose. Example, he spoke to Watson through the device. Revolutionary, bringing a very big change. Example, this was revolutionary. Experiment, a test to discover or prove something. Example, he continued to think, experiment, and work. Legacy, what a person leaves behind and is remembered for. Example, Alexander Graham Bell's legacy is enormous. Connection, a link between people or things. Example, the telephone was more than technology. It was a bridge between human beings. Grammar tip, infinitives of purpose. We use to plus a verb to explain why someone does something. It answers the question, why? Example 1. His family moved to Canada to look for a healthier life. Example 2. Bell wanted to help people communicate. Example 3. He worked for long hours to send the human voice through a wire. A simple way to remember. Use to plus a verb when you want to explain the reason for an action. Alexander Graham Bell began as a curious boy in Scotland. Through science, teaching, and hard work, he helped change human communication forever. He studied sound. He taught deaf students. He worked with wires, signals, and voices. Then he helped give the world the telephone. His story reminds us that invention is not only about machines. It is about solving human problems. So, here is a question for you to think about. What problem would you like to solve for the world? If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and comment below with one lesson you will carry with you. Subscribe to English via AI for more real stories that help you learn English. One journey at a time. Keep learning. Keep building.